People don't hear your words, they hear your tone and energy. You could say all the right things, but if your energy is off, that message just won't land. Every time you interact with someone, it's your energy that's doing the heavy lifting. That's what people truly connect with. And as a high standards woman, mastering this invisible force is key. So let's talk about it. Welcome to the Star Monroe Show with your fabulous host, myself, Star Monroe, psychotherapist, master life coach, and founder of the High Standards Woman. This podcast is specifically curated for the ambitious, driven woman ready to live aligned with her higher self, embody her inherent worth, and of course, always get what she wants. So, your tone, your presence, and your energy speak louder than any words you could choose. When these elements align, you become magnetic, pulling in the right people, opportunities, and experiences that match your elevated self. We've all been in situations where someone says the right thing, but something feels off. Maybe a friend says, I'm fine, but their energy tells you otherwise. And I always say, when a woman says she's fine, she's definitely not fine. Or at work, someone compliments you, but the lack of enthusiasm makes you question their sincerity. This is because people don't just listen to words. It's your tone, your energy, and your presence. For a high standards woman, mastering this is crucial. It's not about having the perfect words, it's about showing up with a deep presence that commands attention and respect. Your tone and energy are your most powerful tools, whether in relationships, at work, or in everyday interactions. You see, words are just the surface level. Think about how you can feel the energy in a room before anyone even speaks, whether it's tense, joyful, or something in between. That's energy at work. Your tone, the rise and fall of your voice, the softness or the sharpness can completely shift how your message lands. Now, I want you to imagine a woman who walks into a room with a quiet confidence. She doesn't need to say much because her energy speaks for her. She's embodied in who she is, aka, she's not at war with who she is. People are drawn to this energy, not just because of her words, but because of her magnetic aura. Contrast this with someone who talks endlessly, but whose energy feels scattered or insecure. No matter how polished their words are, you will feel drained just by being around them. This is the power of energy in communication. When your energy is in sync with your words, you don't need to push or force things. You naturally draw in the right people and opportunities. And as a high standards woman, this is your superpower. It's not about memorizing the perfect script, it's about embodying an energy that speaks louder than any words could. You don't just speak, you embody. You know who you are, you know what you want, and you know it's inevitable. It's coming your way. Well, I always say it's already happened. I'm walking into it. And when you live in devotion to yourself, your desires, and your standards, it shows. This alignment shines through in how you talk, how you move, and how you interact with the world. This is what begins to generate magnetism. We're going to go into this a little deeper in this episode. And magnetism is that undeniable pull that makes people want to engage with you without you needing to chase it down or force it. So let's unwrap this further and talk about a key practice every high standards woman must master. And it's the art of leaning back. Too often, we get caught in the habit of pushing, forcing, and trying to control things. And this comes from a place of fear, of insecurity, or neediness. And there's no shade here because this is how I used to walk through the world. I tried to make everything happen, and I thought if I just worked harder and I did more, things would come to me. But all it did was leave me very, very tired and exhausted, with the belief that nothing was working. And this is why I encourage and teach everyone that comes into my world the art of leaning back. Because when you lean back, when you cultivate this art, this is when you relax and you trust in life, because life has its natural rhythm and flow and it's going to happen with or without you. And you stop trying to control outcomes. This is for all my control addicts out there. I see you, I was one. And when you do this, when you learn the art of leaning back, you step into your true power. Leaning back is all about shifting your energy from chasing things down to attracting. In relationships, this means holding your space and allowing the right partner to step up and show you that they are worthy of your time. In your career, it's about showing up in your excellence and allowing opportunities to come to you rather than pushing for them. And here's the magic. I love this. When you master the art of leaning back, you activate the siren effect. This is where the real magnetism starts to happen. The siren effect is that quiet, irresistible allure that draws people in. Not through force, not through effort, but through your energy and presence. When a woman really is embodied in who she is, when she loves who she is, you know that you're attracted like a moth to a flame to those women. So when you lean back, you actually create space for others to be pulled towards you naturally. The siren effect is all about letting your energy speak for you, making you magnetically attractive without you having to chase or convince or prove anything. A high standards woman doesn't beg for attention. Her energy naturally draws people in because it's calm, confident, and clear. This energy radiates from the inside out. And if you've listened to me for more than a hot second, I will always say it's the inner work that makes the dream work. You change your inner world first, and your outer world will have no other choice but to match what's going on the inside. So this energy radiates from the inside out and affects people how they respond to you. It really, really does. And let's put it into practice. At a networking event, for instance, when you really know you are the prize, you won't need to ever push your way into conversations or aggressively sell yourself. Instead, you'll lean back, you'll speak with calm confidence, and your energy does the work for you. This is the siren effect in action, drawing others into your orbit. Here's what the siren effect and magnetism need, though. They require boundaries. I call it the red velvet rope. And I imagine that I'm walking around the world with a red velvet rope around me. And I choose who comes through that red velvet rope. I'm in charge. So when you embody your boundaries energetically, again, this conveys itself to the world. People feel them without you needing to over explain. And again, I'll talk from experience. I used to think I had to prove that, oh, I'm doing this and over explain why I'm doing this. And over the years, I've learned that no, there's nothing to prove. There's two things in this. I always said the most dangerous woman in the world is a woman who has got nothing to prove. And also, this is about you curating and creating a life that makes sense to you. It does not have to make sense to anybody else. And when you are really embodied in that, that amplifies your magnetism. Because when you are setting boundaries, if your tone is unsure, or if you feel like you need, like I just said, prove or over explain, the message won't land. But when you say, I'm setting a boundary, I'm doing XYZ with firm, calm confidence, it's immediately understood. You see, you aren't just talking about a boundary, you're living it. I'm going to talk about the dating world in a minute, but I want to add in a story about my sweet doggy who's no longer here. Um, his name was Tubby, and he's a King Charles Spaniel. Beautiful doggy, so docile, so sweet. And he would never jump up onto anyone. He was very obedient. He loved affection, much like the next dog. And yet, he was, when I had clients coming through the door to my Pilates studio, this was years ago, he would sense out anyone who was weak and didn't have any boundaries. Now, anyone that came in that knew who they were, that were assertive, he would go up, sniff them, and then walk away. He might want a little pat, but every time, and this was like the marker for my new clients. My dog was telling me about my clients before they even opened their mouths. They would walk through the door, and anyone that had no boundaries and didn't know who they were, my dog Tubby would jump up all over them. He would be barking, he would be hassling them. It's innate in all of us. We can sense this energy. And as I move on to talk about the dating world, men can sense this energy in you. And this is why I always say if you feel insecure, needy, you haven't filled your own cup up, you don't know who you are, you don't know what you want in the world, do not go dating. Do not go dating because men will take advantage of you. And I get it, it's not all men, but it's always men. It's always men. So I'm going to give you some tips here. So, men, and I'm not classing it, this is just men. Women can do this too. Men often say the right things, but their actions, and more importantly, their energy, tell the real story. I was talking to a private client the other day, and was talking to me about a new relationship, and she was like, oh, it's going so well, this is so different. And I asked her, how long has this been going on? She said 3 weeks. And I said, okay, let's slow the roll, because you don't know anyone in 3 weeks. You won't know people in a year. And so what you've got to do, especially when you're with someone and you kind of get that love bombing effect from someone, what it's going to do, it's going to ramp up all those feel good hormones, and it's going to feel like you're hooked on a drug. And you're hooked on them. And so it's really important when you go out into the dating world, because people can say all the right things, but when we have to be really alert, your body will be able to tell whether there's an alignment there. And this pulls in from another story. Years and years ago, I did a survey with over 100 women, and I said, has your intuition ever talked to you, and have you ever ignored it? I think 75% of women that replied on that said, yes, my intuition is talking to me. And when I ignored it, I got into a terrible relationship with a man. So you have to see, this is where the leaning back comes in. You've always got to lean back, especially when you get excited. Excitement is not a good base state to move around in the world with. You want to be grounded and calm within yourself. The more excited you are, your energy is going to be out. I call it tizzing. And you lose your sense of self. You lose your sense of groundedness. So don't just listen to words. Watch for alignment. Allow your body, listen to your body, her signs as well. If a man tells you or a woman tells you that they respect you but constantly test your boundaries or disappears for days, that's an immediate cease and desist. I can't even say it. Cease and desist. We're done. You move on. There's plenty more people out there. You want people where you feel safe and you trust, and it's slow. It's slow. Lean back. Pay attention to consistency. Pay attention to words and energy matching up or not matching up. And know this, whatever you want, you will get, and yet you have to hold yourself to higher standards. You have to demand more from yourself. So it always comes back to reasserting different boundaries. And I always say boundaries with oneself first and foremostly, and then boundaries with everybody else in your life. So whatever you have your eye on or your heart on, it's out there for you, but you have to become an energetic match for it first. And the easiest way to see that you're not an energetic match is by going through the people and circumstances that you're attracting into your world, almost like a flicking through a Rolodex and going, well, are these elevating me or are these causing more drama and angst in my world? So coming back to the siren energy, coming back to the magnetism, this isn't about perfection. It's not always about saying the right thing. It's more about showing up with an energy that reflects your worth. You tell the world what you're worth. You probably want to write that down. You tell the world how you act, how you treat yourself, what your worth is, and what your standards are. When your tone, energy, and actions align, you become irresistible. And I'm not just talking about men. In fact, I'm not here to guide you into finding a man. I have always taught my wisdom, my methodology for you to be the most excellent version of you. And this takes me back to when I used to run a pole dancing academy years and years ago. I would teach the women striptease, but less sexy, exotic floor work. And I said, this is never for the men in your life. This is for you. This is an empowering art form for you to be connected back to your divinity. And so I always say that if you do want a relationship, then you have to start with the relationship you're having with yourself first and foremostly, because as you deepen and elevate the relationship with yourself, you will attract deeper, more intimate connections with everyone in your world. So, yes, you will become irresistible because people will feel your presence. And this is what sets a high standards woman apart from all the other human beings in the world. You don't need to speak loudly or say a lot. Your energy does the talking before you even open your mouth. So, next time you're in a conversation, don't just focus on the words. Tune in to your energy, align your tone, and practice the art of leaning back. and watch how people respond to the magnetic force that is the high standards woman. If you're ready to go deeper into mastering your energy, the art of leaning back and everything that makes a high standards woman magnetic, join me for the High Standards Woman Finishing School. She launches early in 2025, and this is a self guided program. And this is where I'm going to be teaching you everything that I have learned over the years and guiding you into these practices and these principles so that you can be the woman who always gets what she wants. Be the first to know by joining my inner circle at thehighstandardswoman.com. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I truly appreciate your energy and I appreciate you. Join me each week on the Star Monroe Show for transformational conversations, insights, and strategies to help you rise up, to embrace unapologetic confidence, and to live a life of excellence. I'm here for the women who demand more. I'm here for women to be financially independent, to create life on their terms that make sense to them. And I'm definitely 100% here for the women who always get what they want.